Bienvenidos and welcome to my channel. Okay, so the last few weeks have been a disaster. As I was attempting to create this episode a few weeks ago, I had a complete failure of my hard drive storing all my YouTube data. Yep, it's gone, all gone. Had in a major earthquake yesterday for good measure, and here we are, ready to go, finally. Spelljammer is one of my favorite settings that I barely played. Either I didn't have a group or the group I was with had other plans. But now with the 5e release of the Spelljammer setting, I can go back to the great beyond. My current group has been on a rather epic trek across Corvair, chasing strange cults and following the trail of an ancient monolith that is somehow connected to both the discovery of the Warforged and the creation of the Mournland. My world, my rules. I had a pretty good idea where I wanted to end the adventure, but no real ideas on how to get to that point. But then Spelljammer was announced, and my problem was solved. Before I even had the books in my hands, I was planning the crossover event for my group. First task, I need a ship. Once I picked up a 3D printer, I knew I had to print one of my own and started searching the internet for the right one. I landed on the website printablescenery.com and found the Flying Frigate 2.0, which I promptly purchased and downloaded. I will admit, I should have not started with such a big project being so new to 3D printing, but I couldn't abate my excitement and proceeded to bite off more than I could chew. While I did finally complete the print, there were some errors that I decided I could work with, and I completed assembly, but it's still a painting work in progress as of this episode. For Luigi, I searched my other go-to website for STL files, myminifactory.com, and I found the Barkeep Beholder file from Good Doctor Creative. I bought and downloaded the file and began printing them up. The one thing I immediately did see was that it didn't come pre-supported, but thankfully the pieces were easy to add supports to, and it printed out just fine. The other issue I saw is that there was not a base included, which would have been nice, but was not a deal breaker. I bought some bases from Asgard Rising, also on myminifactory.com, and found one that would work perfectly. Added a few boxes and barrels for extra detail to hide the mini support, and I think it came out great. The solution to their mystery is going to take them to a very remote part of the astral plane that has a very dangerous guardian protecting it. For this, I found an astral dreadnought from Epic Miniatures, also from minifactory.com. This one did come with both a base and was pre-supported, so I printed it up wonderfully, and once I finished the Zenithal primer, I used contrast and speed paints to complete it in only a few hours. I used Citadel's Gilliman Flesh contrast for the bulk of the model, wanting to go for a more animalistic look than a space monster. For the spikes, I used Citadel's Skeleton Horde and absolutely loved the results. The teeth and jaw spikes were done with Army Painter's Pallid Bone speed paint, giving me something of a lighter look than the other spikes, but still close enough in color to the rest of the model. For the interior of their mouth, I used a combination of Citadel's Blood Angel Red and Doomfire Magenta contrasts, and it adds just enough bright color to pop out and keep the model from being all brown. When it came time to do the claws and tails, I wanted it to resemble the Discora Kiori, since it was a reoccurring monster that my players had dealt with on multiple occasions while chasing the monolith. For that, I used the Citadel's Basilicanum Gray contrast, which is one of my favorites from the contrast line. The shadows and highlights come out perfect every time I've used this, and this was no exception. Lastly, I used Army Painter's Runic Gray for the eye to give it that cloudy, spooky look that I wanted for the creature. As you can see, both Luigi and the Dreadnought came out great, and my players really seem to enjoy these custom minis on the table, as opposed to the store-bought factory-painted ones I've always used in the past. That's it for this time. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned to see more from my Spelljammer obsession. I plan to finish the Flying Frigate, as well as 2 other ships I picked up from Loot Studios. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, remember to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, they ain't gonna paint themselves. Happy holidays to everybody who celebrates.